Hey, all right, we're on air. It is Thursday, April 5th, and this is a meeting to check in on active development tasks for Backdrop CMS. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the Backdrop maintainers for releasing new versions of Masonry API and PDF.js modules this week. I haven't seen PDF.js before. That might be a new one, but it looks interesting, so I'm going to check it out after this. Other things we're working on in Backdrop land include the backdropcms.org primary website, where we're trying to improve the modules, themes, and layouts pages. The goal is to make it easier for people to find modules that they need to use on their Backdrop sites so that they can tell if the modules they're currently using on their Drupal sites are supported already or not. But we also want to make it easier to find modules that you don't need to use on your Backdrop site. So if you type in something like redirect, we should say this module is now included in core, so you don't think that that module is not ready for use yet on Backdrop. And we do have a content type on the site called a project placeholder that is intended to do exactly that, but there's something about the way our search works that doesn't actually return those results when you're looking for projects. So we have some kind of usability improvements we need to add to those pages, as well as some new designs. They're coming soon. We could use some help with that if anyone is interested in working on those issues. They're in the backdropcms.org issue queue. All of our code is in GitHub. It should be fairly easy for people to grab that. We also have sanitized backups of the database created every day if you want to grab a copy of that. Ping someone in Gitter and we can tell you how to grab it. We're also working on the forum site. The one remaining feature we're going to be adding there in the near term is a search box. Search functionality is already there, but the search results need a little styling. So if anyone wants to work on that, the search site is also in a public GitHub repository, and the theme it should have some default styling in it. Might be a little hard to work with. We're using the Borg theme, which is publicly available, but we're using a sub theme of that specifically for the forum site. Hold on a second. I'm going to change this link here. I just got pinged saying it was wrong in our agenda. Okay. Next item in the agenda, now with a correct working link, are things that we're working on for the next release of Backdrop CMS itself. So we have items for Backdrop 1.9.4, which will be the next bug fix release of Backdrop. And we have 2 items that we're hoping to get in for that release. One of them is to fix database credentials that might have been working in a previous version of Backdrop that are no longer working now if they contain a funny character like a hash symbol. So we have a fix for that, a quick fix for that, but we want to include something that will throw a message on your status report if you have a database password that contains a funny character that might cause problems, so that it will notify you that you need to change your database password, if possible. That would be great to get in for that fix. And then the other fix we have is for automated email messages. So these are the messages that go out when you build a new site, or you set up your first user account, or you do a password reset. The website will email you messages. And if you had upgraded your website from Drupal 7, the line breaks in those messages got converted incorrectly to the actual characters front/n instead of an actual line break. So we have a fix for that that just adds another update hook. So any site that's updating from Drupal 7 will get their emails fixed. And that one I think is ready to go, but the pull request is marked needs review. So we need to have someone test it, upgrade a site from Drupal 7, and then send an email and make sure it comes correctly formatted. And those are both slated for the next version, the next bug fix version of Backdrop, which is 1.9.4. The next the next minor version of Backdrop, which is 1.10.0, which is currently due out May 15th. Feature freeze will be May 1st. Has 2 major sections of focus. The first one is around improving translation. And there are 3 issues that we've been talking about for a while that'll improve translation. One of them is translating menu items One of them is translating blocks, and one of them is translating configuration. And it looks like the block translation issue is still marked ready to be committed or reviewed and tested by the community. But both menu item translation and config translation issues are marked as needs work. I'm not up to date with what's going on in those issues, but I encourage anyone that's interested to have a look and see how close those are. I have a feeling a lot of them are pretty close. So it'd be great if we could get all of those fixes in for 110. But that does mean these would have to be in probably before the 1st, because these are fairly substantial changes. But I would check those issues and see if they're marked as new features or bug fixes to see when we can get those in. Another set of things we're working on for Backdrop 110 is the improvement of the modules, themes, and layouts interface. And we've got a couple of issues for that. One of them is fixing the instant filter on the modules page so that if you type in something like categories, you'll be able to find taxonomy. Another one is adding tags for modules so that if you have a module that would fit into perhaps more than one category, or maybe a category that is not available on as a project on the modules page, you'll still be able to search for all modules that might be in that group. And there's a long outstanding issue, that's issue number 37. I re-rolled the pull request that was there last time, but it needs a little bit more work. It's not quite doing what we want it to, but I think that's likely to get in. And then the other one, adding multiple screenshots for all projects, this close to release maybe won't get in. If we do add, so I'm a little bit worried about adding that functionality without actually using it, because I don't want to add it incorrectly. So it'd be good to figure out exactly what we're going to be doing on the Backdrop site, what GitHub will be doing, like how we can actually handle all of those screenshots to show people better examples of what modules, themes, and layouts are doing. And there might be some more changes necessary for layouts as well. I don't have the issue number handy, but somebody did point out recently that when you have a collection of layouts, every layout has an individual info file, but there isn't necessarily an info file for the collection, which makes it really hard for backdropcms.org to properly deliver that layout in a packaged format. So I think we need to make some changes to how those work as well, which would fit in with all of these other changes we're making with modules and themes to make sure that modules and themes work, layouts work more like modules and themes do. If you're curious to look at all of the issues that we're working on that are slated for 110, we have a milestone you can check in the GitHub issue queue. But if there's something else that starts getting a bunch of attention that isn't necessarily slated for 110, that doesn't mean it can't get in. And a great example of that is right now we have a new meta that just got created that is about improving the contact form in core. And that issue is 3023. It's something that there's been kind of a lot of griping about the contact form module recently, and it would be great if we could figure out all of the issues that we want to get resolved and see how many of those we could get included. I'm not sure any of them are going to be ready for 110, but the fact that that's getting a lot of attention means that it might be something that would be on the list for 111. So if that's something you're passionate about, maybe more passionate about than configuration translation or module search page improvements, that's another place where you could definitely use focus. If you're curious about what Backdrop's long-term plans are, you're welcome to view the roadmap page on our website. I'm not sure we necessarily have super long-term plans just because we tend to adapt based on what the community finds most pressing. But you can at least get an idea of what we've done before in terms of the kinds of changes we're likely to implement in the future. And I think that's it for Backdrop the product. Nate usually does this part of the meeting, but he is unavailable today. So I tried to do the best I could. I'm, again, not completely up to date on where all of those issues are. So I'd encourage anyone who's interested in looking them to take a look at their issues on GitHub. Jeff is also not here today. So usually he would give us a quick update on the Backdrop for Good project and how it's coming along. But since he's not here, we won't hear about that. Which brings us to the open Q&A section. So if you have anything related to anything we talked about or not related to anything we talked about, this is a good time to bring up your thoughts. No thoughts. Everybody's muted. I don't know if you have thoughts and you're talking into your muted microphone. If you don't have thoughts, that's also fine.
I'm good.
Okay. You never know. Someone's like, oh, I was talking for a minute. I doubt you're thoughtless, but I would say you don't have to have anything to say if you don't want to. I just figured we'd give you an option. So that's all we have for today's meeting. I guess it's short and sweet. I am actually excited about that because that means I can go make some progress in some of these issues. But yeah, a lot of great feedback from people lately in the issue queue. So thanks everybody for jumping in and helping out. All right. If there's nothing else, let's go ahead and end the meeting, and we will see you guys on GitHub issue queues probably. Thanks for coming.